Voice clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. So actually, what Prabhu told, Shikshaku, actually, Prabhu only is my inspiration for knowledge, Prabhu's knowledge, and Prabhu can take class anytime. Right? No need preparation. Prabhu, take class. He'll just take class. So that was the strength of Ramananda Prabhu. And Ramananda Prabhu is our guide, actually. He was a guide to our yatra. So, in fact, I told Prabhu, I'm not qualified to take Chaitamrita. So Prabhu said, no, Prabhu, you take. So I'm taking class based on Ramananda Prabhu's authority. So he's qualified me, like Prabhupada qualified the disciples. So Ramananda Prabhu has qualified me to take. I feel I'm not qualified. So Hare Krishna, we'll start. Namo Shivadaya Krishna Prasthaya Putre Srimade Japta Krishna Krishna Putre Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Jadastatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jayo Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, we'll continue with reading from Madhya Lila, chapter 1, text 91. Okay. Pratama Sutra Prabhura Sanyasakarana Sanyasikari Chalila Prabhu Sri Vrindavana. So this is the first synopsis. After accepting sannyasa order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded towards Vrindavana. So last week, Sachipremi Mataji covered wonderfully. It's a very tough topic on the ecstatic love of the gopis and Radharani and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always absorbed in ecstasy of the gopis, right? So the Radharani and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are crazy, right? Are crazy. This is mentioned here, word unmada, madness, right? So and Prabhupada is explaining very nicely, right? He said no one wants to be mad, right? Nobody wants to be mad, but in this case is this kind of madness, everybody is waiting to become mad, right? So so every devotee, right, ultimately wants a taste of this madness, right? We want to be mad for Radha and Krishna. We want to be mad for devotees, right? So I still remember when I went to Indian supermarket, I saw one devotee, Pedi Prabhu and family was there. The son looked at me, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, very loudly, right? He was so happy to see, right? So happy to see, and he's like, you know, and seeing devotees out of their home in outside, devotees get very excited, right? Because we're seeing, oh, you know, spiritual world out there. So he's excited. So this is the kind of love devotees actually should be showing to among themselves. They should be mad in love with the devotees, right? We should be, I'm sure saying, okay, Bhira Krishna Prabhu, I'm in love with you. Ananya Devna Prabhu, I'm in love. Ramananda Prabhu, I'm in love with you. We should be in love with devotees, right? This is kind of madness, not normal love, should be madly in love, right? Madly in Radha and Krishna, madly in love with Krishna's paraphernalia, madly in love with the Dham, madly in love with devotees, right? We should be we should all be mad. In fact, the whole world is mad. Be only normal, right? Is madness to be in a slaughterhouse, being slaughtered daily. Millions of people are being slaughtered every day, and then we as goats are eating the grass and thinking everything is okay. We are in this world. So all these people who are being slaughtered every day, and we are seeing them slaughtered. They material life being so much of focus, enjoyment, you know, and everybody can be slaughtered anytime in this slaughterhouse, right? So those who are intelligent will see and understand that this madness is real, right? That material attraction is not real, right? It's going up. So that is actually the madness. Those who understand truth, understand material life, going up to material life is madness, right? And the madness of attraction of devotees is real, right? This should be the one. So to us, devotees, the whole world is mad. We are normal. So, and in the last 12 years of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, he was displaying this madness, right? Last 12 years, he was just in, he was like a crazy person last 12 years. So, and from text 91 onwards, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is going to do a synopsis of Madhya Lila and Antya Lila, right? What is going to cover in the whole of Madhya Lila, continue, and Antya Lila is going to cover. So text 91 to 248 is a synopsis of Madhya Lila. From 249 to 287, the 287 verses in this chapter. So 249 to 287, he is going to do a synopsis of Antya Lila, right? So today we can cover 91 to 101. So 91 to 95 is synopsis of Mahaprabhu's attempt to go to Vrindavan, right? The full details is given in Madhya Lila chapter 3, right? Full details are there. It's wonderful, very nice, very detailed. And 96 to 98 is about his journey to Puri, right? And that is given in full detail in chapters 4 and 5. And 98, partly to 101, is a meeting with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and very elaborately given in Madhya chapter 6, right? And after that, his trip to South India and all that is there, and we will continue. Right? So today we'll do 91, 95. First, he says this first synopsis. After accepting sannyasa order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded towards Vrindavana. Then we'll cover the 5 verses and then we'll explain. Text 92. Premete vivahala baya nahika samarana radha deshe tina dina karila brahmana. Translation. When proceeding towards Vrindavana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was overwhelmed with ecstatic love of Krishna, and he lost all remembrance of the external world. In this way, he traveled continuously for 3 days in Radha Desha, the country where Ganges river does not flow. So, text 93. Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, Bulaya, Ganga Tire, Lana Aila Yamuna Baliya. Translation. First of all, Lord Nityananda bewildered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by bringing him along the banks of Ganges, saying that it was the river Yamuna. Text 94. Santipure Acharyera Griha Agamana Pratama Bhiksha Kailatahan Ratre Sankirtana. Translation. After 3 days, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the house of Advaita Acharya at Santipura and accepted alms there. This was his first acceptance of alms. At night, he performed congregational chanting there. Text 95. Mata Bhakta Ganera Tahan Karilak Nilana Sarva Samadana Kari Kaila Niladri Gamana. Translation. At the house of Advaita Prabhu, he met his mother as well as all the devotees from Mayapura. He adjusted everything and then went to Jagannath Puri. So here, after sannyas, Lord was actually, is mentioned he is going around Radha Desha. In Prabhupada is mentioned here, Radha Desh actually is a new name. Actually, original name was Rashtra Desa. Rashtra Desa became, it's a corrupted name. Of course, Radharani's name is Radharani's name, but it's supposed to be Rashtra Desha. So the corrupted name is Radha Desha. Actually, it's Rashtra Desha or Paundra Desha. Prabhupada is writing in the purport. Right? And this particular place is in the western side of Ganges in Bengal, right? It is in Bengal. So, and Mahaprabhu actually decided after sannyas, he wanted to go to Vrindavan and serve Lord Mukunda only there in a solitary place, right? He wanted to be alone in a solitary place in Vrindavan and just worship Mukunda. That's what his decision was, right? Of course, will this happen with devotees? No, devotees are, when it comes to Lord, they're very crookish, right? So, and since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was manifesting ecstatic symptoms, right, in because in that mood, he was in a madness, ecstatic. So he did not know which direction is going. He didn't know whether it's day or night, right? He did not know. He was just going like a mad guy, right? He was just going. And so it's also important to mention here that Lord actually tried to go to Vrindavan. How many times? 4 times, right? 3 times failed. Finally went. So 3 times failed. The 4th time he succeeded, and he actually went in the year 1515, right? 1515 is a year Mahaprabhu actually went to Vrindavan, and the purport was written. Coincidentally, Chaitanya Charitamrita was completed in 1615, 100 years later, exactly. So it's very interesting to know that. So when Mahaprabhu was going like this, was walking on the Radha Desh, Nityananda Prabhu, Chandrasekhar, and Prabhu Mukunda following with him, right? So when Mahaprabhu was going through Radha Desh, the people are looking at this beauty and and person in such ecstasy and all that. So they were saying Hari 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 Hari. When Mahaprabhu heard them saying Hari Hari, he went into more ecstasy. He was so happy, right? He also saw some coward boys, and they also saying Hari Hari, and Mahaprabhu went them and touched the head and blessed them, right? And he said, please go on chanting like this. Please go on chanting like this. It's so wonderful, right? So, of course, such fortunate boys were touched by Lord on the head, right? And they were chanting. And when Lord did that, all material happiness, unhappiness vanished. Unhappiness vanished. They were all happy, right? So what Nityananda Prabhu did at this point of time, he went ahead. Actually, the pastimes is very detailed, which we'll be doing when we come to the next few chapters. But I'm just doing just a quick summary. So Nityananda Prabhu went ahead, told the boys, and said, when Mahaprabhu comes, when asked the way to Vrindavan, just show the way to Ganga. The boys said, yeah, okay, no problem. So as usual, they came, and then the boys told the direction. Then he happily came, and then and while this happening, Nityananda Prabhu told Chandrasekhar Acharya, right, who's also known as Acharya Ratna, right, the same person. He told, go to Advaita Acharya and come ask him come in a boat to Santipura, right? Just come in a boat to this place from Santipura. Then and then after that, you can go and get the devotees from Navadvip to come to Santipura to Advaita Acharya's house, right? So it's called Sachimata and the devotees, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in ecstasy, right? He was like a drunkard, like he was ecstasy like a drunkard, and he saw Nityananda Prabhu in front and he said, Nityananda Prabhu, where are you going? And he said, Mahaprabhu, we are actually coming with you to Vrindavan. Oh, really? Right? It's so cute. Actually, Mahaprabhu is asking Chaitanya Prabhu, like innocently is asking, where are you going? Right? I'm coming to Vrindavan with you. So it's so cute, right? And he's asking him, how far is Vrindavan? How long more? He said, Mahaprabhu, you're already here. Look, he showed at Ganga and said, this is Yamuna. Oh, and Mahaprabhu in ecstasy, he jumped into Ganga. And he said, oh, what good fortune that I'm now in Yamuna. I'm so happily he's bathing and all that in Ganga. And he offered prayers to Yamuna in Ganga, actually, right? So he said, what good fortune. But he didn't have any undergarments, right? He just jumped with undergarments, it's wet. Now, so while this is happening, Advaita Acharya is coming in a boat, right? And the Mahaprabhu looking at him and wondered what the heck is happening. How come Advaita Acharya is here? So when asked again innocently, can you imagine how nice, wonderful? Lord is asking, oh, so why did you come here? I mean, to Vrindavan. Why did you come to Vrindavan? And how did you know I'm in Vrindavan? So innocently Mahaprabhu is asking. So nice. And Advaita Acharya tells him the full truth. Mahaprabhu, you actually in Ganga, you are near to Santipura. Oh, Mahaprabhu became angry. He said, oh, Nityananda Prabhu cheated me. he cheated me. He said this is Yamuna. And then Advaita says to Mahaprabhu, no, Nityananda Prabhu didn't cheat. He told the truth only. How? He says in Prayag, right? Yamuna and Ganga merges in Prayag, right? On the western side is Yamuna, and on the eastern side is Ganga. So now you have actually bathed in Ganga, the river we call Ganga, but on the western side, which actually Yamuna only. So this is water is Yamuna water. So this is Yamuna. And he says, Lord, anyway, wherever you are is Vrindavan. Right? He says that. Right? So, and this point of time, after sannyas, Mahaprabhu was walking, he didn't eat for 3 days. And both him and Nityananda Prabhu, all were fasting. 3 days they did not eat. So, Advaita says, he brought the clothes for him to change, undergarment and external garments he brought. So, Mahaprabhu changed, he said, I've made a handful of rice, right? 1 palmful of rice I've done, and simple vegetable I've done, and no luxurious cooking. So, Mahaprabhu, please come. Right? Then Mahaprabhu accepts it, and then he goes. And then the food was such, plentiful, so many varieties of sweets, so many varieties of rice. So it's explained in detail, right? And Mahaprabhu says, no, I'm a sannyasi, I cannot eat. The Advaita says, Lord, don't cheat. I know who you are in truth. All this. And what reason why he took sannyasis, I know why he took. Advaita tells to Mahaprabhu, he said, just eat. I know in Puri, you are eating 50 more times, and you are the same person. I know who you are, so no need to hide it from me. And Mahaprabhu stays there for 10 days. Of course, Nityananda Prabhu eats so much food, and such wonderful pastimes mentioned in detail. The pastime between he and Nityananda Prabhu is mentioned, and he stays there for 10 days, right? And the 10 days, feasting and chanting happens, right? And then in this time, in Sachimata, the devotees arrive, right? So Lord, when sees a mother, falls full dandavat on mother, right? And both are crying, right? Because the mother is crying. Because after sannyas, first time the meeting, right? Mother is seeing he's such a wonderful hair has been shaven, his bald, right? His bald. Look at him. The mother is in tears, crying. In Mahaprabhu, both are overwhelmed. And the mother is touching and is caressing him, as a son, and kissing his face, and tears is flowing. Tears is flowing, and she wants to look at him. The tears is blocking her vision of the son. Right? So she's wiping the tears and looking at him. And the mother says, in a long conversation, the mother finally says, do not be cruel like Vishwarupa. Right? Vishwarupa took sannyas and never saw him after that. Right? And that happens to with you, I will certainly die. Right? And Mahaprabhu says, no, mother, this body belongs to you. Right? I cannot repay you even after millions of births. I cannot repay you. Right? So he says, whatever you ask me, I will, where you ask me to stay, I will stay, right? And he paid obeisance again and again to the mother, right? So such wonderful pastimes. And after that, he met all the devotees and he embraced each one of them and looked at the face and embraced them, right? All the devotees from Mayapur, right? So Vidyadhar Nidhi Prabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu, Ganga Dasa, Sridhara, Buddhiman Khan, Mukunda, Sanjay, so many of them came, all of that. And then Mata told Advaita she'll cook the meals for him. So she cooked, every day she cooked for Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu enjoyed, right? And then all the devotees were calling Mahaprabhu to the houses, right? And then mother said, no, look, I'm not going to get an opportunity to cook again for him, right? So we all can go and cook for him later, but I cannot cook, So they all allowed him to stay, Sachimata to cook. And then they were discussing where to should stay. She actually wanted him to stay in Advaitacharya's house. It's near to her for to come. But Mahaprabhu was not happy with that. He said, I'm a sannyasi. I cannot be staying with any relatives and all. It's not good, right? So understanding this, Sachimata agreed to let him stay in Puri, right? So and Sachimata says he says, I don't care for my happiness, right? I only care for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's happiness. He's happy, I'm happy, right? So he was such a wonderful devotee, actually. So her happiness only, her love for Mahaprabhu was such intense. He said, my happiness is not important. Same like the gopis, right? Not important. His happiness is important, right? In fact, after that, she never saw him. According to this thing, he said he never saw them again in the. And then Mahaprabhu was actually very upset. Actually, it's all arrangement of the Lord to meet the mother after sannyas, right? Because he knew that taking sannyas would have been like a thunderbolt, right? For Sachimata and the devotees, right? So he met them all together for the last time, with the mother all together last time in Advaita Prabhu's house. The next is text 96, right? It's the next one where the journey to Puri, right? So 96, you read. Okay, Pate Nana Lila Rasa Devatara Darasana Madhava Puri Rakata Gopala Stapana. On the way towards Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed many other pastimes. He visited various temples and heard the story about Madhavendra Puri and the installation of Gopala. Text 97. Shira Churi Katha Sakshi Gopal. Shira Churi Katha Sakshi Gopala Vivarana Nityananda Kaila Prabhura Danda Banjana. From Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard the story of Shira Churi Gopinatha and the witness Gopala. Then Nityananda Prabhu broke the sannyasa rod belonging to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 98. Krudahana ekagela Jagannatha dekite dekiya murchitahana padila bhumite. After his sannyasa rod was broken by Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu apparently became very angry and left his company, traveled alone to Jagannath temple. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the Jagannath temple and saw Lord Jagannath, he immediately lost his senses and fell to the floor. Right? So this is the trip saying. So here is mentioned Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. 96-98 is the journey to Puri. And Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is saying in this section, when he's writing this particular section, he says, this particular section has been described in detail by Vrindavan Das Thakura in Chaitanya Bhagavat. He says, since so is been so nicely explained, so sweet and so wonderful, like a shower of nectar, right? He says, I will only give synopsis here, and wherever Vrindavan Das Thakura didn't cover, I will cover. And the most interesting thing he's saying here in this part is, he's asking for forgiveness from Vrindavan Das Thakura if in case he's offended him, right? So devotees is giving example here how we have to be so careful, right? Of course, he knows that Vrindavan Chandras being a devotee would not mind he describing the glories of the Lord, but still he's asking for forgiveness from Vrindavan Das Thakura, right? Even though such a elderly person, right? So this is the mood of devotees, no offending devotees, very, very important, right? So offending devotees knowingly, unknowingly is very, very dangerous, right? We all know, right? So it's very important. So and here Mahaprabhu went with 4 devotees, right? And he will go personally during his time. He will personally go and get alms, and he will cook the prasadam together with devotees. So he will collect grains and all that for the offering for Lord, right? When he came to Gopinath temple, right? He was in such ecstasy because he was like he fell when he fell and put dandavat. The helmet, flower helmet of Lord Gopinath fell on his head, right? So Lord was so happy, so pleased. It chanted and danced. And the servants of Gopinath temple, the servants, saw the intense love and beauty and transcendent qualities of Lord Mahaprabhu, and they were struck with wonder. It's amazing. The person has got such beauty and such intense love, and his qualities were amazing, right? So here they told the story of Shira, Chara Gopinath, and Madhavendra Puri, right? Of course, the Madhavendra Puri story is very detailed. It was wonderful, wonderful story. All of us know, where he had a dream, right? In fact, he was sitting under a tree, and he's got a principle of not asking for food, right? He will not ask. When somebody gives, he eat, right? So he came to Vrindavan, he came sat under a tree, just sitting there, right? So a young boy comes, a beautiful boy, he comes and say, Baba, why are you hungry? Why are you not eating? So gives him a pot of milk. And he'll ask the boy, how you know I didn't eat? Say, no, some Matajis came just now, they saw you, and they came and told me. So that's why I came to give you milk. And such a wonderful, beautiful boy, and he gave. So he accepted, he drank the milk and kept the pot. And the boy says, I'll come and take the pot. Yeah, he washed the pot, kept it nicely. He waited, looks at the path where this boy went away, waiting, never came. Finally, the Lord comes in the dream and says, he holds his hand and takes him to a bush. He said, actually, I've been here for a long, long time, right? I've been in this bush for a long time, and please take me and install. The deity was installed by Vajra, right? Vajra is the grandson or great grandson, I forgot, of Krishna. Now he installed the deity long time ago. That means it's almost like 2,000 years back. But when the Mughals invaded, the Pujari took me and hide me in the bush. Right? I've been there for a long time now. Please take me. I'm feeling hot and hungry. Right? And then so he installs the deity. Of course, long story. Installs deity, and he's eating loads of all the villagers comes and offers plenty of prasadam. And then one day he says to him, he said, I'm feeling so hot. Please go to Malaya province, and bring for me chandan. Bring chandan so to cool me down, right? So he went to Malaya province. So I'm being Malaysia. They say Malaya is Malaysia, but I have not seen much of chandan trees in Malaysia. I don't know what happened to all chandan trees. This is the Malaya province. So after that, the story. Then he comes back, and Gopinath also the story. We know that he was thinking such a wonderful Boga, the offering to Lord, the Shira, the sweet rice, right? How nice if I can have a little bit of that. So Lord himself steals and give it to him, right? That's why it's called Shira Chara Gopinath, right? I'm sure many of you have been to the temple. So it's a nice temple. And even Madhavendra Puri is mentioned. He's also in ecstasy like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He doesn't know day or night, direction, location. Sometimes stands up, sometimes falls down. He is in similar ecstasy, similar madness, right? He was in madness. He was in the same mood. That's why he doesn't feel hunger and all that for days and days. It's just ecstasy. So that's the story of Mahaprabhu. And then now we'll go to text 98. The full coverage will be done in the next few chapters. So now is next text. Text 99 we'll read now. Sarvabhama lana gela apana bhavana tritiya prahare prabhura hai ila chitana. After Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Lord Jagannath in the temple and fell down unconscious, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took him to his home. The Lord remained unconscious until afternoon, when he finally regained his consciousness. Text 100. Nityananda Jagadananda Damodara Mukunda Pache Asi Mile Sabe Pailanananda. The Lord had left Nityananda's company and had gone alone to Jagannath temple. But later Nityananda, Jagadananda, Damodara, Mukunda came to see him. After seeing him, they were very pleased. Text 101. Tabe Sarvabhame Prabhu Prasada Karile Apana Ishwara Murti Tandre Dekaila. After this incident, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya by showing him his original form as a Lord. Okay, the next one is his trip to South India from 102. Okay, so here in text 98 is mentioned that Nityananda Prabhu broke the Lord's danda, right? So here is mentioned that why what do you call it? 5.0, you put that chapter. Okay, so here is mentioned why Nityananda Prabhu broke the danda, right? So Prabhupada is explaining very nicely in the purport. He says, because he'll break in Kamalapura, when Lord was going towards Puri, when he's walking, he comes to a place called Kamalapura, he bathes in Bharginadi river, right? When he bathes in Bharginadi river, he gives danda to Nityananda Prabhu, he gives him there, right? After bathing, and then later at a place called Attaranala, right? Which is about 6 miles from Puri, he asked for danda. He said, Nityananda Prabhu, give me my danda. And he said, oh no, Mahaprabhu, you were in ecstasy, you fell on danda and danda broke. And I don't know where the danda is. In fact, he said, I don't know where is it gone. It's not anymore, right? So, Prabhupada in the purport explaining why Nityananda Prabhu broke. Actually, because he said Lord is already in the highest, already in the Paramanasa stage, right? There's no need to accept danda. So, he says this is completely clear. So how he said, so Sri Sai Mahaprabhu accepted the regulative principle of renounced order of life. Is completely. However, in the Paramanasa stage, there is no need to accept danda, right? And Sri Sai Mahaprabhu was certainly the Paramanasa stage. Nonetheless, to indicate that everyone should take sannyasa. So he took sannyasa as a exemplary for all to follow. Those who are come to the fourth stage of the life, right? Fully engaged. So. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his continuities wanted to show everyone to follow the regulative principles unfailingly. He did that perfectly, right? So, there's no need for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to carry the stuff and to declare to the world that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is above all regulations. That Mahaprabhu is above all regulations. He broke the danda into 3 pieces, right? And it's known as Danda Bhanga Lila, right? Very nicely mentioned. So the Mahaprabhu becomes little angry. A bit of anger is shown. He says, you all have benefited me by bringing me to Nilachal. So I'm happy with that. However, my only possession was the danda, right? So he says, so Subka, I'm angry now. Either you all go before me or after me. Right? Mukundadatta says, Lord, you go ahead. You will go first. We'll come behind you. Right? So then the Lord goes, right? When the Lord he goes in front on his own, he goes first alone, right? Of course, he's moving ecstasy. So the next the verse is, then he enters the temple of Jagannath, right? When he looks at Jagannath, he'll be crazy, really going madness, right? So he actually wants to go and hug Jagannath, but before that, he falls down and faints, right? So the watchman was there. He threatens to beat up because he's going near the altar and all that. He wanted to beat up, right? But Sarva Bhattacharya is there and he stops him, right? He says, and he looks at the personal beauty of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his transcendental transformation, his symptoms on his body, right? All that he looks at him and says, he says, this is called Sudipta Sattvika, the symptoms, bodily symptoms, right? And then he also looks at his ecstatic symptoms, it's called Adiruddha Bhava. Adiruddha Bhava is the ecstatic symptoms. He looks at it and says, how is it possible to have these symptoms in a human? He said, it is amazing. The symptoms that was shown by Mahaprabhu was amazing. And Sarvabhattacharya, who is he? He is Brahaspati himself, very knowledgeable person who knows the scriptures very well. So he was like a walking computer, is a walking scripture. He knows the scripture very well. So this Gopinath Acharya and Mukundaratta, right? They will come and they will explore where is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and finds out. And Gopinath Acharya, who was there, who saw this, is in Sarvabhattacharya's house. So they go. Mukundaratta and Gopinath Acharya goes and they have a conversation with Sarvabhattacharya. Goes. Right? He says, who's this person? They say, this is Sri Krishna Chaitanya, right? And which sampradaya he comes from? He said he took initiation from Keshav, the sannyas diksha from Keshav Bharati. Oh, he says Keshav Bharati. That means he's a second class sannyasi, right? So it's mentioned under Sankaracharya, the 10 kind of groups are there, and first the topmost is Saraswat Brahmanas, as known as number 1. Right, number 1 Brahmanas, and Bharatis were considered second, and Puris were number 3, like that. They were that thing. So he says, it's a second class Brahmana, and the discussion goes on between Gopinath Acharya and Radhapati, a long discussion, and Gopinath Acharya will say he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Sarvabhattacharya will not accept it. Right? He says, this is a sannyasi and he's not following the scriptures. A sannyasi shouldn't be dancing, shouldn't be doing all these things, shouldn't be doing. Should read the Vedas, should read the Vedas and all that. He should update. And Gopinath says, even though you can be a great scholar, right? I know you're a great scholar, but you don't know still, without the mercy of the Lord, you cannot understand him. Right? This only devotee can understand this statement. The only devotee can understand. Without the mercy of the Lord, can never understand Lord. Not by scriptures, not by reading the scriptures. No, you must have the mercy of the Lord and mercy of devotees. So you will ask Mahaprabhu to listen to Vedanta. So 7 days, 7 nights, all of us know he was listening. On the 8th day, he said, "You have listened to the Vedanta for 7 days. There's no comments from you, right?" And Mahaprabhu says, he said, I've listened to you for the sake of a duty of a sannyasi, right? I've not sannyasi, but I can understand the meaning you are trying to explain. Then he said, how come you look like such a person? You cannot understand my simple language? He said, no. Sutras are very clear to me, right? But your explanation is agitating my mind, Mahaprabhu says, right? You are actually covering the real meaning of the scriptures, right? Right? There's a direct meaning, right? But you are trying to interpret. There's no need to interpret and all that sort of discussion goes on. Actually, this is quite relevant even to today's world, where people are trying to interpret Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, right? So this is why we say, who wants to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam? Especially Bhagavad Gita, read it as it is. Right? Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada is calling it as it is. Why? Because people are trying to interpret. There's no need to interpret, right? This is, when we do the Bhagavad Gita course, this is first thing we tell to everyone, right? We say how it should be read in the mood of Arjuna and read as it is, right? If Lord says, what? Sarvadharmam parijajya, mamekam saranvarja. Give up everything and surrender unto me, right? He says, me, so many times, surrender to me, right? If somebody is talking to 2 person, right? Why would someone make the other person interpret? It's a simple language. Surrender everything and give up everything and surrender to me. He didn't say me actually means 33 million devas, means everybody, I'm all that. He's saying so clearly, read Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada, this is what we try to do, the new people coming. He said, read as it is. You understand, it's so crystal clear. Krishna is telling Arjuna, bhakti, these, so many things very clearly. Why do you need to interpret? There's no need to interpret, right? May not understand the word, Sanskrit word, that you can ask, right? But there's no need to interpret a simple language, right? He's telling clearly to his friend, This is what you do, right? There's no need to have inner meaning, second meaning, third meaning. Yogis, all these guys, all others who done Bhagavad Gita, nobody has done it as it is, right? Only Prabhupada has done as it is. Of course, it upsets a lot of people. I had a friend who says, "Oh, as it is not," he said. This is, but it's almost 25 years back. He said, "No, ISKCON is as it is not." Right? Actually, it is as it is. Very simple. Right? So I'm waiting to go back and see him. Actually, he's retired now. So I'm going to tell him, actually, it's simple, right? This understanding, I've got this understanding that read it as it is, right? There's no need to interpret. That's the most important part. So there's no need to cover. And of course, after that, we know that how Mahaprabhu shows his form of, what the name? Our Sabha Prabhu's name. Is Rama, Mahaprabhu, and it's Krishna. The form he shows to Sarvabhattacharya, wonderfully he shows, and how he converts him into a devotee. He converts such a person to devotee that everybody is surprised, right? He's such a strange person, and he himself goes against some of the Sastric rules, how he eats prasadam without even taking a bath, right? How he hugs the others who are non-Brahmanas, right? This was like in olden days, 500 years back, this is unheard of, right? Brahmanas hugging everybody, right? He's hugging. His poem is devotee now. He's a Vaishnava, right? Everything Vaishnava is hugging everyone. Such wonderful pastime. Sarvabhattacharya's change was a big impact in Puri itself, actually, very big impact. Okay, Hare Krishna, we'll stop here. Any questions on the pastimes?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Ratnam. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thanks for wonderful Leela's to cover. So I have one question and also a few points to summarize from your wonderful session today. Prabhuji, you mentioned Lord Chaitanya Prabhu was trying to go to Vrindavana for 4 times and then finally succeeded 4th time. And 3 times he was denied by devotees. Mainly Nityananda Prabhu was cheating him. Prabhu, my question is, Lord Chaitanya Prabhu is having a mood of Radharani. So generally we know that one who wants to go to Vrindavana should have mercy of Srimad Radharani first. Like for example, my case, now last 20 plus years I'm in Krishna conscious, but so far I couldn't get opportunity to go to Vrindavana even once. So I was always thinking of going, but somehow I end up going either to Mayapur or Puri. So Vrindavan never happened because I presume that still yet to receive the mercy of Srimad Radharani. But in case of Chaitanya Prabhu, so he is already carrying mood of Srimad Radharani. So externally we know that he acts as he comes as a devotee and all. But what is the real the mood or a lesson we need to understand from the fact that Lord Chaitanya Prabhu tried 4 times, 4th time he succeeded. So what is the reason behind it? Since we all know that we need Radharani's mercy to step into Vrindavana, and he is Radharani himself with Krishna. So what could be the reason for his attempts and finally 4th time he could go?
Okay, so it's true. It's recommended that you should go to Vrindavan first and then Mayapur, right? So they always try to go to Mayapur, Vrindavan first and then Mayapur, but some special devotees get the other way around. So special mercy, you get Mayapur and then Vrindavan, like Prabhu Ramananda Prabhu, right? So generally it's recommended that you should go to Vrindavan, get mercy, and then go to Mayapur. Should not go to Mayapur straight, right? If it's possible. Huh? Oh, say Mayapur first. Mayapur first. Huh? Okay, Mataji say Mayapur first, and then Vrindavan. I heard Vrindavan and then Mayapur. Oh, yeah, correct. Mayapur first and then Vrindavan. Yeah, Mayapur, that's correct. Yeah, Mayapur and then Vrindavan. So, but I went with the reverse. I went to Vrindavan first and then Mayapur on the reverse. So it's mentioned about Mayapur. So here is Mayapur is a place which is created by Radharani herself, right? Radharani created Mayapur all for herself without any competition from her competitor Gopi, right? There in Vrindavan, she's called competition, right? In Mayapur, it's a place where Radharani wanted Krishna all for herself. Right? That's why she created Mayapur. You read Mayapur Mahatmya, you mentioned that Mayapur is created by Radharani. Right? So such wonderful. So Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, in the mood of Radharani, he tried to go, right? What he's saying, thinking, he said, I want to go to Vrindavan, I want to be in solitude and serve Lord Mukunda, right? This is what he wanted to do. But of course, Nityananda Prabhu knows this is not his purpose of his avatar, right? Not his purpose of avatar, right? We don't want him to just stay in Vrindavan and serve. He has to be in a place where he can do preach to the people, not in solitude, like the Babajis. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says, one of the verses, he says, I cannot go to Vrindavan, right? Because I am trapped by devotees, right? The devotees don't want to let him go actually, because if they let him go, they will not be able to see him. Vrindavan will not be able to see, right? Plus his mother, can you imagine his mother, right? Because he stayed in Vrindavan, in Puri, mother is getting information. The mother's sake, he stayed in Puri, right? So of course, for all the devotees, he stayed in Puri, right? And the only reason he needs to actually go to Vrindavan is to find the lost places, right? Which he found and entrusted to the Goswamis to establish, right? Radha Kund was missing, right? But he, being Krishna himself, was able to identify all his missed places, and then he told Goswamis to identify the places. So, and Advaita tells to Mahaprabhu, wherever you are is Vrindavan. You don't need to go to Vrindavan. There's no need, because you are Lord in the mood of Radharani and Krishna. Wherever you are, that's Vrindavan, right? Which is true today, because wherever it says wherever you have deities, Tulsi and all that is Vrindavan. The house, he said, there's no need to go to the four steps. You need to read Bhagavatam, Tulsi, all that mentioned, plus residing in Mathura, right? So there's no need, because your house is equivalent, where the Lord is saying is already Mathura, right? That's what is interpreted by Mahaprabhu. So and Mahaprabhu will say, I am, please, I'm in the order of devotees. I'm controlled by devotees, right? I'm controlled by devotees. So he could not go because devotees, they don't let him go to Vrindavan, right? So and for Mahaprabhu, it's more important to be in Bengal, that area, than Vrindavan. So that's all I can explain. Maybe more is there, I don't know.
Thank you, Prabhu. It is apt. So my request to you is that please pray that very soon I get an opportunity to go to Vrindavana, and also that my first visit to Vrindavana should happen with you.
Amen.
My first visit to Vrindavana should happen with you.
Oh,
you should be there, because I know you are planning to go back from Krishna Katha this end of this year, and I'll be in India by mid of next year for good. So somehow you have to make an arrangement that you should take me to Vrindavana, and I want to hear the glories of Vrindavana from you. I miss so many plans, visits conducted by you, but somehow this you keep it in mind. So my visit to Vrindavana will happen only with you. So this is benediction I am asking from you.
If the Lord permits, Prabhu, we'll go next year. Kartik month we'll go.
Yeah.
September, October time we can plan.
Yeah, bro. I'll be there. I'll be there in India.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. So some wonderful points just to as a recap to meditate as a take-home lessons from today's wonderful class by Radhapati Prabhu. Is that Prabhu, you mentioned that one should be in madness for other devotees and Krishna. So you gave example of how the devotee circle, each one should be craving for other devotees association. And in general, actually, what happens was that when we see a particular devotee, we start feel, oh, I want to avoid this devotee, I want to avoid that devotee. So that kind of feelings we carry. So the reason of this can say the purification should happen in at this place itself, because we are going to see all these devotees in Golok Vrindavana in once we go back to Godhead. So if you are trying to avoid or say that, oh, I don't like this devotee, I don't like that devotee, what are you going to do when you see that devotee in Golok Vrindavana? Again, the enviousness will come. Again, you'll come back to this material world. So the purification should happen while we are in this material world itself. That start loving devotees as we love for Krishna. That is a very wonderful point. This is exactly reminds us a point from Mother Rukmini's letter to Krishna, when she sends a letter to Krishna with a Brahmana. So she says that my mind has become like my foolish mind. She writes as, my foolish mind is always thinking about you. So a very nice statement. Always I quote this in my classes, that if Mother Rukmini says that her mind is foolish or mad because always thinking about you, Krishna, so we don't mind to be mad. We don't mind to be foolish, following footsteps of that is a foolishness. That is a madness. We don't mind to be mad. We don't mind to be foolish. So that very nice point too. And you compared the madness in material world versus madness within the devotees in material world. How contrast these two, and how madness among the devotees help us in advancing Krishna consciousness, nicely explained. And yes, you also explained about Lord Chaitanya Prabhu tried to visit Vrindavana 4 times and succeeded 4th time. This is a very interesting point. And one very striking point, this is, I can say, the one of the lessons of today's class was that Mother Sachi was telling Lord Chaitanya Prabhu that not Chaitanya Prabhu, she's telling other devotees, Aditacharya and others, that I don't care for my happiness. I care for Lord Chaitanya Prabhu's happiness, Gauranga's happiness. So that is the mood. That should be the mood of every sadhaka, that whatever we do is not for our own happiness, not our own sense gratification, but to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Lord. That is wonderful point which Mother Sachi is giving to all of us. And also that the mood of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami begging forgiveness from Vrindavan Thakura, though he has given very high regards, high respects to Vrindavan Thakura in his all his commentaries, but still that mood of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is very, very apt and very adaptable for every one of us. That we should always be very, very respectful with our fellow devotees, all the Vaishnavas around us. And you mentioned about Vajra. Vajra is actually Krishna's great grandson. It is mentioned by Sri Prabhupada in Krishna book that Krishna and Rukmini had Pradyumna's son, and Pradyumna has Aniruddha, and Aniruddha's son is Vajra. So it is told that the whole Yadava community got completely annihilated by fighting among themselves by arrangement of the Lord, except Vajra. Vajra was only one who got survived. And Sri Prabhupada explains even Vajra's lineage. Who was Vajra's son? Vajra, his son. Finally, it came up to 4th or 5th generation. I don't know what happened after that. Whether there's anybody is still there, we don't know, because Prabhupada gave up to 4th lineage after Vajra. So that is a point which I wanted to add. And you mentioned about Dandabanga Lila, very nice pastime. This actually gives a wonderful realization, wonderful message for all of us. Who is Lord Nityananda? When Lord Nityananda could break the danda of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu, we should understand that the role of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, the message what he is giving to us is that Lord Nityananda Prabhu is Adi Guru. So he is Guru of all the Gurus, and he is Adi Guru, and every Guru is representative of Lord Nityananda. So it is our Guru who decides what is good for us. So by doing this Dandabhanga Lila, he reminds every one of us that we should follow only Guru's instruction. The Guru he best knows what is good for us. He's only one person. He says, do this. We have to do that. So that is one realization I had from this past time. And also you told about one cannot understand the Lord without the mercy of Lord or his devotees. So it is very, very important point you made. And the last point which I could note, there are so many points which I missed out, but the last point which I could note was that one should not misinterpret or even interpret the scriptures. So that's why Prabhupada took a lot of pains to give the scriptures as it is, so that we don't have to use our so-called mind to interpret or misinterpret. Even anything we try to interpret is a misinterpretation because we are using our mundane senses. So the best is to follow the scriptures as given by acharyas. Since we cannot understand what Lord is conveying to us, we depend on the interpretation of our acharyas. So acharyas can do that. We are not in position to interpret. That's why I heard long ago that what Supreme Lord is given in the scriptures, it is only 30% of what the message is conveying to us. The rest, he is keeping the heart of spiritual master in the form of realizations. So what we get from scriptures is 30%, and what we get from our senior devotees and acharyas, the Prabhupada and our Guru and our Shiksha Gurus, like you today, you gave a wonderful lesson that we get the balance, 70% of what Lord is conveying to us through the heart of the pure devotees. So this is one very nice point, nice realization I had from your class. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Wonderful, wonderful session. Very many practical points you covered. So request devotees to raise hands or come forward to ask any questions or comments. Any points, any realization they want to share? Nityanshu Prabhu says the whole CC class devotees may plan to visit Vrindavana. Yeah, river. So under guidance of Radhapati Krishna Prabhu. That's why always I say, this is my slogan. This slogan has come from my association with Radhapati Prabhu. Always I say that I use this slogan many times in my classes that no allopathy, no homeopathy, no naturopathy, only Radhapati is one who can save us. So this slogan has come from you, Prabhu. This is always when I take shelter of Radhapati, then nothing else is required to be thought of. We all request, Nitesh Prabhu has also suggested that we all go to Vrindavan under your guidance in somewhere next year when I'm back. Devotees, any questions, comments, relations you want to share before we end the session?
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Prabhu, can just glorify Chaitanya Charitamrita before we end the session.
Yeah, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki